I'm gonna check this. There we go. Hey folks, I'm out here on the James River doing a little catfishing. What I thought I'd do, while I sit here and let my bait soak in the water, maybe just talk through what I'm using, all of my gear, give you guys an idea what I use for kayak catfishing. And I'll start off with my boat. So I've had this Perception Striker for 3 years now, 11.5 feet. I got it at Dick's for about $450. I actually bought 2 of them, one for me and one for my kids, to be able to take them out fishing. And in terms of a boat, this is a decent, cheap fishing kayak. It's nothing special, it's large. So, I'm a pretty big guy. I've taken it out camping, thrown a bunch of gear on it. I've actually taken it out just with all of my kids. I have, a kid on the front and a kid on the back and myself, plus, some camping chairs and different things. So it's got like 440-pound capacity. So it's a big boat, but again, nothing real special. Really, any more expensive boat would be a better fishing boat than this one. But it does come with rod holders and anchor and stuff that you need for kayak fishing. Again, it gets me out on the water. I would gladly take a better fishing boat, but this one gets me out. It was what we could afford at the time, and I've had a hard time justifying getting a new one when these ones work just fine. In terms of rods and reels, I'm not a huge gear guy when it comes to that stuff. I did buy last year a couple Spin Fisher reels. One of them came with the rod. These are kind of saltwater reels, but I use them for both fresh and saltwater. They're a little more expensive than, usually I buy ugly stick with, rod and reel combo for $30 at Walmart or whatever. These ones were a little bit more than that. But after, my kids fish on the beach and my kids drop the rods in the surf and gunk up the reels, I just figured, why don't we get a saltwater reel. Hoping there's some activity here soon. I see some fish kind of swirling around. In terms of life vest gear that I have in the boat, I've got this this is NRS, right? Chinook fishing life jacket. I like it because I keep all of my gear in it, which kind of forces me to wear my life jacket, which is a good thing. I go out fishing by myself most of the time, and it's important even on, I fish on flat water a lot and not a huge danger of flipping or anything, but it's important to wear your life jacket. So I do that. I've got, my clippers and my pliers all in my life jacket. So when I'm wearing my life vest, I know I've got the gear that I need. I usually have some extra leader in here somewhere, some different things. I also like to have some binoculars or something. This is a monocular. It's not fantastic, but I just like looking at wildlife while I'm out here. I've seen otters, you see birds all the time. It's nice to just be able to get a little bit better view of them. That's kind of what I've got in my life jacket. Paddle is just a, what do they call these, shoot, cheap paddle. Again, I think I got this from Dick's. Somebody stole my other paddles out of my truck, or at least they disappeared. I don't know where they went, but had to just stop on the way to a fishing spot last summer, stop at Dick's and grab a couple paddles. Field and Stream, shoot, okay, that's what it's called. Shoot is a weird name, shoot. I don't know how you say that. In terms of bait, I also usually have a pocket knife in my life vest. This one is river booty. I found this one on the James River, I think 2 years ago, while striper fishing. It was on the bank in the sand. So I kind of keep that one. If this is your knife and you lost it 2 years ago, let me know. I'll give it back. Usually I use either, try and use fresh caught bait. This is frozen bluegill that I caught last fall, actually. It's been in the freezer for a long time. See if it catches anything. That's usually what I'm fishing with is cut bluegill. Unless, sometimes I'll go fly fish it. I'll take my fly rod, little 2-weight fly rod, see if I can catch a bluegill or a couple and put those on the hook and fish with live bait. But usually it's frozen. That's what I'm using. Here in a minute I'll probably reset and show you my how I've set up my rigs. Alright, I had something tugging on the line just a second ago. Hoping that he grabs a little harder. Come on. Seems to be chewing on it. I'm not sure if he's hooked. He might be swimming around with it actually. Alright, I'm gonna check this. There we go. Attaboy. Easy there, Bubba. Come on now. Come on up. Not a bad little catfish. Attaboy. Heavier than I thought. Actually, this is pretty good little fish. Yeah, that's not a bad little guy. I think we'll let him swim. There we go. All right. What I want to do is maybe reset just a little bit further. Try another spot. Maybe before I cast this out, just to show you what I'm doing. I've got some of the grass, moss off the line too. So basically, I'm using this rig. I've got a circle hook with a bluegill head on there. A couple feet of leader. I do a little swivel with a bead and then this slider with my weight. Water's a little bit high right now. I've actually got 4 ounces of weight on here. Usually I can get away with 3 or 2, but it's a little bit high. So that's what I'm using, nothing complicated. So I was talking to a friend the other day about fishing and how we tend to want to, like, we'll pick a species. I like to pick a species and see if I can catch it. He was doing the same. He's working on walleye here in Virginia, which there aren't a ton of, but there are spots where you can do it. So he's working on that. I tend to, think I want to go try and focus on smallmouth and catch a big one. I've actually never caught a big smallmouth. I'll spend, a few weeks just dedicating myself to smallmouth and catch a bunch of little dinks, but no real big smallmouth. But I was saying, I tend to do that and then give up, and I always resort back to catfishing. Here on the James, there are just loads of catfish like the one I just caught. There are enormous ones too, but it's easy. I can go out every morning and just about count on catching a decent, catfish, 5-8 pound catfish. So it's kind of go out, get my confidence up, catch some fish, have a little bit of fun, then maybe try and poke around with trying to catch some of those others. But it's fun stuff. Lots of catfish in this river.